Man, a lot of clown stuff don't stop, man. A lot of clown stuff don't stop. I don't get it, boy. Wait for a few people to come up in here. We gonna react to the up for the dickhead debate clown dusty dude, man. We're gonna react to some of the stupidity that he be talking. He be mad at me because I know what it is. And I know he probably been trying to do his research on Bootsy, but you ain't gonna find nothing but great things. That's what happens when you a good dude out here. So, we don't have those problems, man. We don't have them problems. Well, wait for a few people to come up in here, y'all. Give me one sec. Right on the subject, man. Put some light on the subject, man. I gotta let them projects, man, the posters right there reflect on who I am, the things I've done. So yeah, this up for debate, dude, is really, really sad, man. I ain't never seen nobody stupid, dusty, and a fan of our upbringing as much as one person. But I guess we keep Harlem alive more than one way. But that's crazy. Be on somebody nutsack that hard. I ain't never seen it in my life, but it is what it is. You keep on coming with him, I'm gonna keep on counteracting, letting you know where you sound stupid and where you're all the way wrong at, brother. Silly. You's a wild child. Where they make them like you at, man. You disrespected Detroit. Big shouts out to Detroit. I know a lot of thoroughbreds over there, brother. And I would have never guessed that that's where you was from. Impossible. With the thorough cats I know over there. I know they definitely mad at you. That's why I made the challenge, man. I made the challenge, man. We gonna see up for debate. Go outside in his own neighborhood. Come through Harlem, man. Hang out in Harlem, bro. That's what we want to see you do. Come hang out in Harlem, man. We want to see, what you know, who you might know. You know, ain't nobody gonna do that to you. We too smart for that. But we'd love to see you, brother. Trying to wait for a few people to get up in here, man. Get this thing started. What's good? What's good? How many of y'all out there right now? Michael Blucker, I see you. Mimi, I see you. We trying to wait for a few people to come through, man. See what y'all got going on. Trying to see what's going on out here, man. Mm. All this up to for debate conversation, man. Real sad out here, y'all. But I get it. People do anything for a check. And I'm gonna make this clear, man. I don't always want to be talking about no Alpo and all that. Yeah. But when people say certain things and then try to discredit the homie Rich Porter with here and can't speak for itself, a lot of people don't speak out. So somebody gotta speak out. So I'm gonna speak out. I don't got nothing against Alpo. If I had something against Alpo, then I'd make lies up. But I don't got to at all. Ain't no need for all that, brother. But I do want a lot of people to understand when you got somebody that's not from somewhere or somebody that don't even know what they talking about, even if they all from the same place and just be talking stupidity just for a check. You got people that follow it because some people like stupidity, so I get it. It is what it is. But he did one recently, and I just caught this one, the one today where he was speaking about, things about Alpo and what Alpo did. But I'm gonna let y'all hear it so I can break it down for him, not for y'all, for him, and for y'all to y'all can pay attention to it and drop your comments however you want to. I'm with all that, but yeah, where ignorance take place is where I'm here to correct the ignorance. So yeah, he did one about AZ, talking about AZ having uh sex with Rich Porter's baby mother right after Rich died, and from the book that she wrote, which is her name is Angie, but he's just going off of reading stuff, and see that's one of the most high ignorant things a person could do is to basically listen to people that start rumors and do all the talking about something that they don't know what they're talking about. So but if you really dissect the book really never spoke about nothing of significance as far as a great relationship her and Rich Porter had and things of that nature. And the only reason why I spoke on it because there's so many baby mothers out here that's probably uh, bitter or just all baby mothers that think that they could just write a book and then talk about certain things that you can actually listen, not listen, but look and read and see that there was no real significant value of even making a book and say things that people will want to hear. So basically, it's still like a money grab. And for somebody to get on their podcast and read the book and then knowing and admit to it takes two to tango and saying he know that he still goes in with talking about a brother he never even spoke to in his life, never stood in the same room. You was a disrespectful, dirty dude, man. The same way how you look in that basement you is in. Rich Porter's real wife, Rhonda, with the green Honda Accord. Everybody know who that was. Was at the house in Jersey, all of the above. I ain't saying Angie might didn't get over there, go over there, but Rich wasn't going home to her. So for you to make judgment on a one-sided story is the only reason why I'm checking you up for the dickhead. You on clown time, bro. You don't fact check what you do or what you be talking about, man. And really, you can't because you don't know nobody from Harlem that's certified as far as you getting the correct information, things of that nature. It's impossible because you wouldn't be doing no silly talking. You would not do no ignorant talking. So yeah, only one we know is Rhonda. That was the wifey, but people know Angie was. Don't get it twisted. We ain't saying that she wasn't nobody, anything like that. I'm not here to downplay her character. I'm just here to say certain things in that book wasn't official. What was the purpose of the book? And people listening to this clown, homeless looking dude, y'all need to double think why. Ron Buggs, what's good? What up, famo? We back with this up the debate clown. I didn't know he had did another joint. So somebody had hit me today. So I said, okay, we're gonna just do a little fact checking. I ain't, I'm a reasonable guy. I ain't gotta go back crazy. I ain't mad at him. It is what it is. I know he doing things for a check. But we're gonna let y'all hear some of this and we're gonna go through this with this silly vanilla dude.
November of 2024, Big Bootsy appeared on a podcast named Unbelievable Behavior. Ironically, its name captures the essence of Bootsy's spirit in regards to Albert Alpo Martinez, especially since Alpo's untimely passing.
And don't forget, we're using this under fair use. This is fair use. This is his content. Y'all can go over there to Up for Debate podcast. He's trash. And uh that's that. I don't want his content anyway, but I'm going. That's why I'm just reacting to it. So y'all listen to what this stupidity this guy's talking, man. Here we go.
On October 31st, 2021. Since Bootsy has been very vocal about his abhorrence towards Mr. Martinez, whereas before he'd been very quiet. On the Unbelievable podcast, Bootsy appears to make assumptions based in opinion and take them as fact when it comes to Richard Porter, Alpo Martinez, and Richard Porter's little brother, Donnell. Let's take a look. You should at least let him get his brother back if you do have any kind of love for him. And it is known that you got love for him because you said in an interview, what did you, K-Slay asked him, what are the things you regret? He said, I regret. One of the things I really regret was killing my brother, Rich Porter. So, how could you say that and mean you got love for him, but let a little kid go to the wayside too, my brother? You didn't care about none of that. So real Harlem niggas will look at it like, nah, fuck that. Oh, got the little boy killed as well. Because that's in fact. Right. You didn't help at least get him back.
So guy, Big Welsh. Well, shout out to Welsh on Unbelievable Podcast. He was interviewing me, and he asked me about do we think Poe was wrong for what he did? And my answer to that was, yeah, because it was a little boy involved. So you felt that, if Poe felt that Rich owed him some money or went behind his back to do something, why? I'm wondering, why would you take his life in the midst of his little brother is already kidnapped. So if he's kidnapped and you cared about him at least a little bit, the way you said it, the case Slay, why? Who would kill somebody they love over something that you could have just did never deal with him and do business with him no more? It don't make no sense. And to all these people that's looking like just Poe was just a treacherous killer and all that, no, it was always a moral behind any of those things he did, and that just don't make sense to kill somebody in the midst of the brother being kidnapped. And we'll get back to that point in a few minutes. I'm gonna let y'all finish hearing this silly dude, but like like Welsh did, he asked me again also. So Harlem people would say he could Poe could be one of the reasons why uh, Darnell lost his life too. El Bliss, salute. So it could be one of the reasons, and I say that why because if they was gonna really return Darnell and they needed the money, you took away the money guy, which was you consider somebody your brother, which is Rich Porter. So if you took away the money guy, now what else they gonna do? They had no choice but to go ahead and unalive the little boy, man. Which, and everybody meant to anyway. Once the finger was found in McDonald's, and they told him go look at the finger, we mean business. Right then and there, we automatically thought like he ain't coming up out of that. Even if they paid the money, they still wouldn't have returned them. But still, the man life was took in the midst of his little brother trying to figure out how to get him back or whatever the next move was. And you had all this temperament in your mind a long time ago that he did something wrong to you, and you picked this time to do that. And I'm gonna tell y'all why it don't make sense, but we'll finish letting this clown talk.
Peace, peace. Let's get to this clip. This big Boosie, this unbelievable behavior podcast. You feel me? Because once you shape a narrative, it begins to look a certain type of way. We all know Boosie don't mess with Poe. He friends with everybody, don't mess with Poe. AZ, the unique nigga from Harlem. A bunch of people that don't fool with Poe, he fool with. So we understand that. A bunch of people in DC, he go to DC with the unique nigga from Harlem or whatnot, and fool with the people that don't fool with Poe just for willy-nilly kicks and shits and giggles. You dig? So we know that if he had something to say about Poe, it wasn't gonna be nice anyway. You dig? So about 8 months ago, he took to this podcast and he's told this story before, and for the most part, it is consistent. I will say that the way he speaks about it, at least, the way he feels about it, he's consistently said this over and over again a few times. You know what I'm saying? I believe he might have said it on Queen's Flip. He might have said it on his own channel. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, while Poe was alive too, so don't nobody get that twisted. And I ain't saying that to be tough or whatever. It's meant to be said because that was meant to be heard. So if y'all ain't see it, go check out my Queen's Flip interview I did over there. It's up. But yeah, we'll finish listening to this clown right here.
Street Knowledge Podcast or whatnot. But let's just look at this right here. He says, you should have at least let him get his brother back if you did have any kind of love for him. How could you say you got love for him and then let his little brother go to the wake?
Look, he wrote down everything I said. Yeah, I got his temperament. He wrote it down. He reading off the paper right now.
My brother, he didn't care about none of that, as he shouldn't have. I wouldn't have cared about it neither. See, here's the problem with that. When I find out that you not my man in my mind, it's a wrap.
See what he said? If he find out you ain't my man in my mind, it's a wrap, right? So he already said he been knew about Rich supposing had did something behind his back, which is a lie, with the connect and all that, and didn't tell him about it. But he said, but if Rich did do something behind his back, and like this is the dumb, dirty, dusty dude here saying, in his mind, it's a wrap. So why wait if you knew a long time ago that he did it? This was just one that you kept in the ace in the hole till you wanted to move on, Rich. Why would you wait this long and then do it on a time like that. Like it doesn't even make sense. But I'm gonna make it make more sense for y'all by the words of this dummy right here.
When I find out you played me, in my mind, it's a rap, as I'm sure it was in Pose. You can't dictate how he responds to that. You feel me? Feeling like that man beat him out of possibly millions of dollars over the course of a short period. You feel me? It doesn't matter.
And you know they keep talking this millions of dollars, man. They so infatuated with this Alpo, Rich Porter stuff, and all that stuff ain't had nothing to deal with millions of dollars. Alpo was on Rich level. Alpo was getting touched. Rich was the one giving Alpo work. Now, if Alpo did something, I mean, if Rich did something on the side, that's because Fritz didn't have nothing. And even if he included Alpo in it, Alpo wasn't the man. Rich was the man, man. Period. And that's a fact. But definitely wasn't no millions of dollars. It won't matter what it is. Somebody disrespect you about bread, but all that they so infatuated, they just think automatically it's just millions of dollars when you hear those Alpo and Az Rich Porter names. And no, brother. But anyway, if a person was that crazy and treacherous and all that, they ain't waiting and hesitating if they mad like that. They would have been put that work in. Darnell probably would have never got snatched up because Poe, the way y'all perceive him, or should I say, up for the dighead perceive him, is in a manner of he's that treacherous. He would have been when it did something to Rich and on a slick or the slide anyway. But yeah, that's a fact. So yeah, we're gonna finish listening to this dummy.
Going on in his life, Richard that is.
Ron Book said, "How does a person that's not from Harlem, rather New York, period, talk like he really knows what he's talking about?" This is what I'm trying to understand, Ron. I'm trying to understand it too, but we're gonna finish hearing this dusty dude, man. That disrespect Detroit, looking like he down there with the rats anyway. That's why he like Poke. He down there with the rats in the basement, bro. Y'all go look at his page if you didn't already. But we're gonna finish listening.
No matter what was going on in Pose when he was beating him for that bread like that. You dig what I'm talking about? So what I'm getting at is you can, even though Poe might have said he felt guilt about it or this and that and the other, you can't dictate how I respond to that once I feel played. What them young boys say, you can't determine how I get my lick back, right? That's the problem with that situation. Everybody can feel some type of way, of course. He should have just let him get his brother back. This and other blase plea that has no bearing on what Rich allegedly, I'm gonna just say allegedly, had done to Paul. You feel me? But ain't nobody looking from that angle. They using the little boy in order to draw sympathy from an audience and draw hatred toward Paul. You feel me? And I don't feel like that's cool. What else he said? He said, the host that is said, so real street niggas, no, he don't say street niggas, he say, so real Harlem niggas will feel like, nah, fuck that, Poe got the little boy killed. Bootsy responds, that's a fact because you didn't even help him get his brother back. What?
Introducing Penn Station's pen pairs for $7.99. A tree oak. And that's a full fact. So he's getting ready to try to go into something and show that Poe's supposed to help them get his brother back. El Bliss said they never talk about their own hood. Him and Gully. Who's Gully? Gully TV dude. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, hold on. We're gonna go back. Hold on.
All them niggas will feel like, nah, fuck that, Poe got the little boy killed. Bootsy responds, that's a fact because you didn't even help him get his brother back. What?
Now y'all listen closely. This is he playing he's trying to contradict what was said in my interview. So he's trying to show that Alpo. This is Alpo talking from the jail phone. So this is y'all listen closely.
When they kidnapped the little boy, I was in Florida at the time. And nobody touched on that. And when I came back in town, and they was talking about this $500,000, I gave Rich $100,000 because he didn't have all the money. Man, nobody mentioned that. That I had to give him 100,000.
So y'all heard that? He said nobody said this is what Alpo said. Nobody was saying the fact of when the little boy got snatched, I was in Florida. And when I came back in town, they told me what's going on. And he said he gave Rich $100,000. And because Rich didn't have all the money, he gave Rich $100,000. Everybody know the story that Fritz gave, even in the paid in full movie. Fritz gave this man all them birds for him to give to Poe to take to DC to go sell them and get the money and come back with that bread. Poe ain't give that man no $100,000. Stop it. And any other brothers that might have chipped in, it is what it is. But Poe, listen, man. If Poe gave somebody $100,000, right? If Poe gave Rich Porter $100,000, right, and then take him and lure him somewhere and tell him I got the money for you for the birds that you gave me to go to DC. And this is what I said on the Queen's Flip thing. Queen's Flip asked me, so why do you think Poe did what he did? So I told Queen's Flip, I said, he did that to make the people think that the kidnappers did it so he could keep all the money, is why he unalived Rich. And that's why Alpo got mad and was sending me messages and all that through the girl that used to be cool with this up for the dickhead nigga. And I told her, don't be sending me no messages. Messages get people killed. And that's a fact. But anyway, can y'all imagine giving somebody some money to help them get their brother, and then you going off them and kill them? How you gonna get the 100,000 back? Where does that make sense at? Please tell me where that makes sense. Listening to that, so that right there alone shows Dumbo. He played that not analyzing the story from what he listened to. That wasn't a truthful over the phone conversation. Why would you do that? Poe been around. He been speaking his mind, and God bless him. He had all opportunity to say, yeah, when I did that. He took everybody to the grave site. He showed everybody where he actually put Rich at. He told them how his man them hit him, and Rich didn't unalive right away. And then he went over there and hit Rich to make him pop, pop out Rich himself, also to unalive. He spoke about all that. He didn't never say, I told him to bring me my 100. I need the 100, which he know he would have never got that because Rich needed the money. And in this telephone conversation, he said he gave Rich 100 because Rich didn't have the 100. So if he gave Rich the 100, Rich brothers at the spare, why would he ask for the 100 back and trick him to come hang with him or go over with him so Rich can knock him, so he can unalive Rich? Do that make sense? Tell me where that makes sense, y'all. That you would give somebody the money and then unalive them without even getting the money back. Knowing he in despair, you ain't gonna get that money right now. His brother come first. So that don't even make sense. Period. Point blank. Then he also said, facts, SIP Fritz, God bless him, man, for real. That was a great dude. Looked out for a lot of people. Tyrone Townsend, appreciate that. Tyrone said you deserve that sign. Keep up the good work. So, if the man gave him, if so now also if the connect that Alpo was mad about gave him, gave Rich work. The story is he gave Rich the work. Rich never told Poe about it. Poe goes to see the connect. The connect tells Poe, Yo, oh, I gave you something through Rich. He gonna say, I ain't Rich ain't tell me nothing or gave me nothing. So now, if put yourself in the Connect shoes, if y'all gave RP something, Rich Porter, and you told him make sure you get Poe something, and then y'all see Poe, and Poe tell you, no, I ain't getting nothing from him. You ain't gonna call Rich and say, yo, man, why you ain't give Poe what I asked you to give him? None of that story makes sense. And not only that, why wouldn't Poe be like, yo, what happened? Oh, so and so told me that he gave you something for me. Why would he just wait around for this particular day when his brother kidnapped, tell him to come meet with him, just to meet with him, knowing his Rich Porter mind in despair. So why would he meet with you just to meet with you somewhere? And then you gonna ask him. You said you asked him 3 times, and you know you just wanted him to tell you the truth one time. What kind of sense does that make, man? And my whole point is, why would you kill somebody you love, man? Excuse me, YouTube. Unalive somebody you love for some money when you could just leave them alone. None of that story makes sense to this cuckoo fool that don't know nothing about Harlem, nothing about none of the guys that he talks about. Maybe you just talked on the phone with Poe, but damn, man, you got your mouth on the dude nuts through the phone that hard. That's crazy to me. But tell me how somebody give a person 100,000 to get their brother back or they family loved one, and then still unalive them. Poe wasn't holding like that, like people think he was, man. That's a fact, and I ain't saying that out of because I'm mad towards him or nothing. I'm just saying it out of none of this makes sense, and I can't let my bro be in that ground um with his name being used in vain and with lies. Cause none of that don't even make sense and it don't add up. How? None of it. The story with the work and the reason for doing so. No, it's cause homie did sneaky work. And everybody said, he's the killer. He was the notorious. Oh yeah, notorious. But I mean, how many times y'all heard him say how he walked up and unalived people? You heard all the stories of, I told him, we going to Jersey, holler some girls. He get in the car, my man behind him, twist him. It was all sneak movements, and got happy doing it, and got like out of control with doing it to the point where he ain't think he was more important than his friend, and he still wanted to keep that persona up as being who he is, and he needed the money. And at this point, homie in despair right now. Let me go ahead and shoot. He gave me all this work. I'm keeping all this work, and they'll think that the kidnappers did it. And that came out of the big homies' mouths that I was standing around. So you keep just talking, homeboy. You ain't nothing but a fool. And you just doing it for content to make some checks, I guess, to pay a little bill or two in that basement you stay in, homie. Because you a real clown to believe that he gave RP, Rich Porter, 100 grand and then still unalived him. Who does that, man? When you come back for this one, debate that one, clown. But we'll finish hearing the rest of this stupidity and foolery.
What you mean he didn't help him get his brother back, doggy? He just said he gave him $100,000. He was in Florida, first of all, when the
So that means he tell him if Poe say he had wings and he was jumping off the Empire State Building, this dude would believe it. This guy is a real jokester, man. Who made this dude, man? They was on laughing gas when your pops popped your nasty moms, boy. Cause you is crazy.
kidnapped, when he come home and figure it out, he get a boy $100,000 $100,000. He say he's goddamn gambling with his little brother, telling him to bring the price up and down, bring it down a little bit. I give you this, I give you that. You don't do that with no kidnapping. And then for everybody that feels like, for every quote unquote real Harlem niggas that feel like Poe got the little boy killed, they're either not very smart, naive, or they're gullible. And that's just the way I feel wholeheartedly, flat out. I don't care how you feel about it. They're either naive.
This dude said either they not smart or they gullible, but he believed that somebody gave somebody $100,000 and then unalive them. Somebody tell me where they please drop the comments on this one, man. Where did somebody unalive give 100,000 to somebody, then unalive them and faking out when it's clear as day that the man gave this man work so he could go and get the bread and come right back. That's that's what exactly what happened. But let's finish listening to this dusty dude.
They gullible or they're not very smart. Man, Richard got his brother killed. It was Richard that got his brother killed. Richard's lifestyle. People were saying there was
Watch what he say.
accusations that the little boy was hustling already, trying to be like Rich.
This dude is a clown. He said people said. See, people like him, man. I know why he don't come outside because they waiting for him to come outside. They gonna smack his head. There's people that said the little boy was hustling. Darnell Wayne, first of all, his mother would never allow that. Velma would never, ever. Period. He didn't need the hustle. His brother was had whatever he needed. Period. Ain't no he was trying to be like his brother. Ain't no way in hell he was doing no hustling. So ain't nobody told you that, man. You up here just talking, man. But yeah, I got time for it, man. They be telling me they don't answer back to that dude, but I gotta check you. And then a lot of people, that don't really understand or see the facts of the matter. And my bro laying down with his name in vain, with all this other stuff about how he unalived somebody brother in pettiness, and y'all don't even understand that story at all. Which that is a no-no. So that's a myth as well. So anyway, we'll finish listening to this dust bucket.
You feel me? It was Richard's money that they were after. That's what got the boy kidnapped. That's what got the boy killed. Aside from the fact that his own uncle, Apple, played a part in that. Now, if you put all that together, you realize the boy wasn't ever coming home anyway. He wasn't ever coming home anyway. Apple told him to come to the car here, take him to school. He saw his face. So you think?
Look how stupid he talked. Apple told him to come to the car, which is Darnell' uncle. Apple told him to come to the car, so he know he ain't coming back no more because Darnell saw his face. That's the only way he was gonna come to the car anyway, stupid. So you're not saying nothing that wasn't already discussed. They already knew once the finger was found, Dumbo. That's my whole point. When his finger found, they already knew what it was, and that probably was one of the reasons that sparked Poe interest to say, yeah, well, his brother ain't coming back anyway, man. I'm gonna keep all this money. I mean, I'm getting ready to have to unalive my friend, my brother, and be a selfish dude and think about that money. Is what probably went through the man mental, man. But at the end of the day, my point about all this is talk what you know, bro. You're talking ignorant, but you don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about what you heard. You need to fall back and mind your business, man. How long can a person do? Whatever content can you talk about? Nothing. You ain't got nothing else to talk about, man. Like literally. You probably sexing dudes down there in that basement you in, man. You don't even look like a woman would mess with you. You look dusty, boy, and you worrying about all the wrong stuff, man. But we'll finish hearing this clown, y'all.
If Richard gives them the $500,000 they asking for, they just gonna let that boy go scot free. Even though I don't believe preacher would have feared repercussion from Rich, you still don't leave an enemy to be an enemy. And preacher didn't leave an enemy to be an enemy. You dig what I'm talking about? So I don't understand why people are trying to put Donnell's murder on Poe's. Or Poe should have did this, he should have did that. Man, like I said before, you don't get to determine how somebody gets their lick back. You dig what I'm talking about? And the Boosie Cat, in closing, that is, the Boosie Cat need to sit down with this one. You feel me? He got to sit down with this one, man.
This guy's a joke, man. You gotta laugh at him.
Big Boosie was a bona fide flunky of Alpo's in the movie, and consequently a bona fide flunky of Alpo's in real life, and he never forgave him for that. As he told the own story himself about how Alpo never paid him for his services for him or whatnot. You know, I don't think he ever forgave Poe for that, and he always gonna feel some type of way when Poe's name is mentioned and brought up in conversation. So you can expect that type of energy. But please don't draw the narrative.
This guy is a clown. He talking about an episode I did a while when I first started podcasting how Poe owed me money from when I was a little young boy and I used to carry the work for A. And Alpo had somebody wanted to give him some birds, so he's like, "Yo, come on, I got you, man. Yo, do this for me, man." So I did it for him. Went up there and I walked it back down to the block. When we got to the block, y'all know how I go with your little young dude, and he ain't paid my bread. And he said go come back. A day went by, a few other days. I told, hey, yo, man, Paul ain't paid me my money, man. He's like, word, all right, I'm gonna take care of that. And as time go by, Poe disappeared. As a matter of fact, for a while, we haven't seen him in a while. Last time we ran into him when Mob Style blew up, and we was at the rink, and A&M was performing, and somebody was with a hood on. Yo, what y'all looking at? What y'all looking at? And niggas was like, what? Gangsta Lou, all of us. Like, what? And he lifted up his Alpo with his hood on. He started laughing. He was gone and disappeared because he ain't had no bread like that no more. I guess he went somewhere and made a move and start coming back around. But anyway, that wasn't even in my mental no more. There's plenty of people that mess up money and owe me money, and I still, you know, showing some love until I might need to get that bread if I can holler at them about it. But at the end of the day, that still ain't make me have no gripes towards them. It is what it is. But me ever been a flucky? No, I was a soldier, and that's how I learned how to be who I am today, and that's how I know how to move. And this here is a lesson to the young cats. Always pay attention to the older dudes in your circle. And even if you take bits and pieces from each person, learn how to put that together to maneuver the correct way. And one thing I do know is don't be running your mouth about other people's business because that will really get you hurt. The same thing that he doing right now is what Poe would have did to him if he would have heard him speaking about his name disrespectfully. He'd have walked up and punched you in your face and all of the above. I don't watch Poe do it to people standing right by me for just telling the dude, yeah, Poe just went up the street. And he came, I guess the dude seen Poe and he came back. And we stayed on the corner of 3-2, the location 132 of the records that they talk about. And gave me five, gave another dude five, and he smacked fire out the dude that told the dude where he was at. So I've seen it. So that's what I'm saying. This is a lesson that you learn from those type of cats. But Poe and them seen my work with the hands and with the other thing, and used to tell me to chill, boy. So ain't none of that. Boosie was ever a flunky, ever. That's why I could get on Queens Flip and say what I want to say, because very well loved in Harlem, very well. Never violate or disrespect nobody on no tough guy stuff. Period. But ain't nobody gonna never tell me how to move or act. Nobody. But I'm gonna respect my elders, my OGs, and all the above. But they ain't gonna play at me neither and disrespect me if it's being disrespected. But being respectful towards them, always gonna be. I don't care how old. If I was 150 and they was 200, I'm gonna still respect them as I was raised to be. From the house to with my, from the house to the outside. That's just life, boy. So we'll finish listening to Dumbo.
The real Harlem niggas feel like Poe got Donnell killed. That's just crazy work, dog. And it's not the truth, man. No matter how you slice it. Peace to the 5% nation of gods and earths. Until we meet again.
So we got stupid dudes like this in the world. And it's very sad. It's very sad. Until he could break down all of the stuff that I just broke down to him and make it make sense. The more I break stuff down to him, the more he gonna make himself look stupid coming up here with content. And maybe then people that do follow and listen to him will start saying, yeah, this dude ain't sounding right. He's sounding crazy. But then you got some people that's so blinded by the fact of, loving corrupt, foul bull crap that they gonna run with it too. So I ain't mad at it as long as I reach out to people and let them understand, man. I can't let nobody just disrespect my boy like that. He ain't here to speak for himself. And then there's a lot of people that ain't really pressed to talk about certain things when it comes to that. There's a lot of people that left the streets alone, ain't thinking about the streets no more. And yes, Alpo walked around and maybe, I don't know, people said he shook hands and took pictures with people or whatever, or made them take pictures. But, I shook his hand when he see me. It is what it is. What's up? Yo, my boy, yo. What's good? Yeah, what's up? We speaking. He was just trying to test my temperament when he just started coming back around. But the end of the day, all the real cats don't even be outside like that no more. They doing other things, moving on with their life. Who want to challenge a person that went to jail that was killing, or should I say, unaliving people and doing it in in those sneaky type manners. I ain't saying all of them was done. He did all of them like that, but if y'all listen to his stories, he break it down how he did it, which it still take guts to even have things like that done. So I ain't taking nothing from him. The boy wasn't nothing to play with. Period. Hand game was nice. I done seen him knuckle up right in front of me. I saved his life from getting. He didn't see it coming from the back. Him and Wayne Perry, I saved both of their lives because they didn't see it. I did it. I called it out before it could happen. Right by the Apollo. But a lot of people just want to kiss butt and say that as if he was running around terrorizing and all. No, he wasn't going around terrorizing. He might have said a few things to a few choice people or whatever. If that happened, I don't know how it may go. I wasn't there, but a lot of official dudes is not outside and not being around none of the bull crap, and nobody's thinking about going to war with a person if they go to war with you. He ain't nothing happened to them, and then they do the same thing what he did when he went in there, put other people in jail that was people that was unalive and people with nothing to play with. So why would you waste your energy beefing with that type of guy? It don't make sense. So other than that, stop it. Because there's so many terrifying dudes that come from Harlem, and that ain't nothing to glorify neither. It is what it is. A lot of them changed their lives. They ain't thinking about doing none of that no more. For what? Unless you push their buttons. So all this conversation that this up for the dickhead dude doing and talking, man, he's a clown, man. On all levels. Clown. Nothing he say makes sense. And I don't see how people even, but people nosy, man. And like they say, man, the negative um things on these YouTube channels get way more views than the positive. Nobody don't want to see none of the positive stuff. They want to hear all the negative, all the negative. And I only did this content especially for him with his lies. This has nothing to do with Poe throwing nothing at Poe or none of the above. This is for this up the debate clown that keeps speaking on Harlem business and don't know nothing he talk about. Matter of fact, New York business, period. And he can't even come outside in his own house, his own backyard, rather, in his own neighborhood. But we be outside. Unique Mega Audio be outside. Well loved. Because the name of this game is don't do wrong to nobody. And if you don't do wrong to nobody, you'll last a long time out here when you out there doing dirt. You already doing dirt. So if you adding dirt to the equation, this is or those outcomes are the outcomes that will happen to you. Period. I'm never hanging with a person that violates their mother, violate the woman they love, as if meaning putting hands on her, beating her up, and talking crazy to her like she ain't nothing. Do something to a person they call a brother, let alone do something to one of their brothers, and think that it was cool to justify it when they are in the wrong. I would never, ever hang with a person like that. I see him, if I see him, I speak. It is what it is. It's just killing a person with kindness, man. They ain't gotta know how you think or how you thinking. That's just that. Got two ears and one mouth. Do more listening, less talking. That's a fact. That's just how it goes, man. Eastside Chemo was good. Eastside Chemo said that dude from my city. I told him years ago he's an Alpo groupie. That's a fact, Chemo. And that's why I told him, man, I know a lot of official, real Detroit dudes, and I would never thought that he was from Detroit. Not with my guys, man. My guys is official, and they good dudes, and they get to that bag, and they fly for real. I ain't never seen nobody from Detroit looking like him. I mean, they got people looking like him in every state, every city. I get it, but not ones that always is in somebody's business and all over these bogey channels they got, making up stuff and talking about something they heard from somebody. They playing a dangerous game, but you know they can play them games when they don't come outside. They don't mind sitting in the house smoking and doing uh, crack and whatever they do all day. East Side Chemo, Detroit and Harlem all day. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact. I got a lot of love in Detroit, as well as a lot of states. But that's my point. When you be real, real recognize real, and we all black and we all brothers and we all come from the same grind, just in different areas. And all this extra stupidity is just stupidity. And basing your life talking about other people to protect the person that really, did bad and didn't accept their consequences on their own and then come home. And this is another thing, and it ain't the downplay. If they ain't understand, he would have came out when he first came home. And he got tired and said, man, I'm going out. And he went out and he was just peeking his head out for a minute just to see who was really feeling him or not. And as usual, everybody that let rats come back home and act like nothing never happened, he started feeling that energy and started getting mad comfortable and start coming out. And all the real people, killers and all that, ain't even wasn't even out no more. Cause there's plenty people ain't scared of Poe, and I done told you all that story about my peoples from the Bronx. Was looking for him high and low. straight like that, and he's still outside, but he's doing great. He's in the real estate, all the above. But he's one of them guys don't poke the bear, man. So people can stop it with all that, man. And another thing is, when a person is really notorious and treacherous, they go back to where they used to hang at. Poe ain't just hung in Harlem. I'm gonna leave that up to y'all to say where he hung out at. And when he came home, he wasn't hanging there. Cause them guys over there don't play. He said something about DC in this actual thing. This cat right here said me and Unique was over there hanging with the DC dudes, and that's a fact. With some real official DC dudes. So if Poe was this Superman y'all talk about, break us down, break it down, being that you heard this and you heard that and you know this and you know that. Break it down to when he was hanging over there and he stepped to the guys that been all over these YouTube channels talking about him. Talk about that because he ain't go to DC. And I can't wait to see some comments on this one because I know they go crazy every time I talk about Alpo. They go crazy in my comments. But I don't care about none of that. That's a fact. But real thorough cats in DC, and everybody know that. But one thing I can say about DC dudes, very good dudes, very humble, very loyal. Give you the shirt off their back if they got to. They treated my brother Unique like he was from DC. Not just one, not just two, a whole bunch of them. I didn't even know Unique knew that many people in DC. And when they took me over there, they had a free party for Anton White, man. A free party. He threw from Welcome Home. And it was bottles being popped in there like people were spending 10 and 20,000 on bottles in different booths. Wherever your booth at, he's sending them over there like missiles. Food, everything, man. That was one of the best parties I've been to in years, man. Showed me mad love. And everybody know DC didn't like New York dudes back then. That ain't the case, man. Big shout out to all the DC dudes, man. 9 Millie, I see you. For real. Antone, man, yo, man. It don't get no realer than that, man. And that's in real life. And as we should all come together, it don't matter what state we from. We all need to come together because this is bigger than us. For real, for real. They can't stop us. We all together. And that's the stuff that they was talking about when we was over there. And we've been hanging out and doing things ever since, man. Unique done been over there in the hood with them, doing things with them. 9 Millie just left Harlem, heaven up in Harlem, had a ball, had a great time of their life, and introduced me some of his good friends and all that. So that's what this all about, man. We ain't with all that other extra stuff with people like this up for the dickhead clown doing separation videos and all that extra conversation, which lead me to have to give you the facts, because you can't let my brother I can't let my brother RP just lay in the ground somebody talking crazy about him and that ain't what it really is. Cause that's not what it is. And we ain't having that in real life. Eastside Chemo said that dude is a real embarrassment, bro. I already know. But you know what I do know? Chemo, he can't speak for Detroit. Period. That's just who he is. Because we know that ain't Detroit. The facts. We know that for a fact. And I can speak on that. I know too many of them. And a lot of them ain't none of them nowhere near like him. Even the ones that work hard and take care of themselves. So he's just a dust bucket for real, really. And you look at his backdrop. Look at the cut off nasty shirts he be wearing. The dude is a clown, man. You just gotta laugh at him. But you know, I like to come up and set the record straight, man. He won't play these games. Hey, I'm with it. I don't care. I ain't got nothing but time to waste, man. I'm in my house chilling. I would get a clown a tour, but I ain't got nothing to show off. Period. But salute to all y'all, my knowledgeable people out there, man. Your boy Big Boosie. I got to slide, but I'll be back, man. I appreciate y'all. Hold up, Kibo said he be in that basement smoking blunts for years. I already know, bro. He probably smoking that bottle, that pipe too on the side. He doing more than that with all that dumb stuff he doing. But he looking dusty over there. But cheer him out, y'all. Peace once again. Y'all make sure y'all share this. If y'all new up here, subscribe. Hit the notification button so you'll know when I'm up here. But I'll be back in a few, man. I got one more to do. I gotta take care of something real quick.